Hello, everybody. This is Tim Lee. I'm the Executive Director of the Texas Retired Teachers Association. Thank you for tuning in today. And this is not an episode that we had planned or that we wanted to bring to you, but we do want to be in a position to answer as many questions as we can to reassure you that the TRTA is following all of the activities related to the cost of living adjustment and what's been happening. And to do that, I have asked our outside legal counsel, Andrew Weber, to participate in this live social media program. I'm just going to be very upfront with y'all right now as you're watching this. We're going to have some high-level answers. Please understand that we are only not even a week into really learning about what has transpired and what this means. I know that a lot of you have been working hard to send emails to friends in the legislature, to the governor's office. I want to go right at the beginning and let everybody know that this was not a situation that was created by anyone in the legislature. The folks that are over there right now, they are all in communication with us, and they're talking to a lot of constituent groups that are affected by this issue. They are not, they are our friends. They're trying to think of ways to help us. And this was, it just happens that they are in special session right now, so we have a little more access to these folks. But I want to say to my friends in the legislature that are watching this right now that I do appreciate all the work that you're putting into this. And I know that you're as interested as we are in coming up with creative solutions to make sure that the COLA is not interrupted. But that being said, as I mentioned earlier, we have a special guest, Andrew Weber, our outside legal counsel. And we're doing this very much conversational. I will be looking at comments just to see what folks are saying and what questions y'all have. I have gotten a lot of emails from folks, so I kind of know what y'all are hoping to learn more about. But we have to start at the beginning, and to do that, I'm going to ask Andrew if he could just give us an overview of what happened, and then we'll kind of have some more questions as we go along.
Sure. So what has happened here is it's starting on November 8th, the day after the election regarding all these amendments, a lawsuit was filed. And then over the next week and a half, at least five lawsuits. So a total of 6 lawsuits have been filed challenging basically all the votes on the constitutional amendments. Now, some lawsuits will name one particular amendment that they think the court should overturn. Some name as many as a half dozen of the amendments that they want overturned. But the lawsuits all say the same thing. And what they say is that there were voting machine irregularities, including alleging the voting machines were connected unlawfully to the internet, for instance. And basically on those grounds of machine irregularities, the plaintiffs are asking that all the votes in the November 7th election be voided, which would, of course, void all the amendments that passed.
So that, Roy, just keep us on split screen. I think, again, everybody, we do this live and we've not done one of these for a while, so we'll just stay on split screen. I think it's easier for people to see that. So you answered one of the questions a lot of folks are asking right now, and that is, was this done only against Prop 9?
No, it was not only done on Prop 9. There is one lawsuit that challenges Prop 9 and a handful of others. All the other lawsuits, again, target the one that would have given property relief to daycare centers or the one that sets up a fund at the Public Utility Commission. So it's across the board attack on all the votes because of the alleged irregularities with the machines. So it's absolutely not targeted just at Prop 9.
Okay. One of the other questions that we get asked quite a little bit is, well, who did this? And so I'm going to take just a second to talk to our members about this, and hopefully they can sort of understand. So we have looked at these lawsuits. Andrew and his team have pulled these documents together. We are going to provide a link to the documents that have been filed that are public record. You can take a look at these. Andrew, I'm going to let you speak to these in a second, but my understanding is they have names on them so people will know who did it. But as an organization, we represent over 100,000 folks. People watching this are TRTA members, legislators, supporters, media. I just don't know that we want to give a platform to the folks who did this and give them airtime. So there's other due diligence realities that I, as the executive director of TRTA, am concerned about just putting a bunch of people's names out there. It is public record. If you want to look at that link that will have those court filings, you can do that. But just know that we are aware of them. We are taking a look. I personally did not really know any of these people. It's nobody who jumped off the page and said, "Oh, this is a connection that we know." It wasn't like that. So, Andrew, do you have anything else that you want to add about that?
No, I agree. It appears to be people from various parts of Texas. You have to be a Texas resident who voted in order to file one of these lawsuits. Some suits have one plaintiff, some may have six. But I agree. I did not see a pattern that connects these people, other than the fact that the lawsuits themselves allege the same irregularities with the machines and basically ask for the same relief on the same grounds, so that the plaintiffs appeared to share copies of documents as they were filed. But I don't see any other unifying thing.
As far as organizations that may be tied to this, I have not seen any solid connection yet to any organization. Some of our members are pretty connected, and so if y'all are wanting to provide that information, you certainly can email me and let me know. But even folks that I've talked to in the legislature have not seen any pattern of a particular organization that we know of. So right now we're taking them at face value. We're going to provide you again the links that you can take a look at. We're not wanting to hide anything, but at the same time, I don't want to turn it into something bigger than what it is right now. The fact is, it's done. These folks have done it. What their motivation is behind it, whatever their motivation is, their motivation, but it has thrown a potential monkey wrench into some of the things for us. So let's talk about that, Andrew. So now that we know that this has happened, now that we know that this is going on, what is the current reality for us with a court a filing that we've got to see resolved?
So again, these lawsuits come under a particular provision of the election code that deals with contesting elections about constitutional amendments, not other types of elections. Basically says that the trial court, and they've all been filed here in Travis County, and the statute says that the trial court cannot start a case on one of these until 45 days after the November 7 election, which will come up on that date pretty quickly. Then, depending on exactly what is filed by the Attorney General, who will defend the state, and I have a lot of respect and high hopes for my former colleagues over there. So they will file, probably pre-file, their motions to dismiss, motions for summary judgment, those sorts of things. Then the trial court will take some amount of time, but it could be very abbreviated, and rule on one or more of these contests. Most likely they would be consolidated under one judge in Travis County. So you wouldn't be having a series of rolling lawsuits. So, arguably by early January, these cases could be resolved in the trial court. There could be a very short time frame for appeals. And then again, assuming for the moment that the state prevails, which I believe they will based on these suits, this could be over fairly quickly.
So I'm going to bring this down to my level a little bit. So we had legislative action. We got Prop 9 put together. We passed Prop 9. Prop 9 was supposed to allow for this COLA starting January 2024. But this action is likely to delay. It could delay. I don't know if it's likely or not, but it could delay that implementation.
Yes, because what the statute says is that if there is an election challenge pending, which there are, the governor and the secretary of state cannot certify these elections. So that's the effect of the lawsuits for today, is that until they are all resolved, as in they've run their course in the trial court and the appeals court, and then the trial court judgment becomes final, the elections cannot be certified, even though we all know what we know about the results and how overwhelming the support was among the voters. That certification process can't happen until the lawsuits are resolved.
Okay. And as I talk to Andrew about how I have to kind of look at the screen and see what questions. And if you all have questions that you want to ask, to try to put them in the screen or the chat, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. I'm seeing both of those comments, and I'll thumb through them in just a second. So, all right. So here we are. It's the start of this process. The legislature's in town as well. Last Friday, the lieutenant governor, the Senate, I should say, pulled together a potential direction on some legislation that would try to expedite these activities and these challenges. Brian Hughes is the senator who authored that bill. It went through the Senate pretty quickly. I did speak to the lieutenant governor. He is hopeful that we'll find a solution to these things sooner than later. Supportive of this Senate Bill 6 that the Senate did pass along the way, so it's potentially on its way to the House right now. Andrew, can you give us kind of an overview of what Senate Bill 6 really is, and not too far into the weeds, but kind of what it's attempting to do?
Yeah, so what Senate Bill 6 is doing is saying that it would amend the current provision in the election code, and it would basically accelerate the process in the trial court dramatically, and then accelerate and give a time frame. Right now, there's no time frame for the intermediate or the Supreme Court appellate courts to do whatever they're going to do with these cases. Senate Bill 6 not only puts a timeline on the trial court running a shot clock, but then runs a shot clock on the intermediate court, in this case, the Austin Court of Appeals, as well as the Supreme Court, and requires those courts to resolve their rulings in these cases expeditiously within 30 days.
Okay. So that bill, and I am seeing the questions team, TRTA members, and we'll do a recap again in a second because some folks have just kind of tuned in, but we'll keep going through it for a couple more minutes, and then we'll kind of recap and answer some questions. So,
Sure.
So that bill, as you said, expedites this process, potentially puts in some new ways for us to move this thing along. I did speak to one senator when they were talking about this, and they really said, "Hey, look, we'd like to see it resolved without having the need for something like Senate Bill 6, but this is potentially a fail-safe, that would push it forward." The reality is, though, we only have 48 hours maybe of legislative session left in this special. Our members, TRTA members, thank you so much for reading our emails over the weekend. You sent thousands of emails to the governor. You sent thousands of emails to the Texas House. I want to again remind everybody, this is not a point of contention. There are a lot of moving parts. It's a challenging situation. As of right now, the governor has not added this to the current special session, and the House has not referred Senate Bill 6. We are having extremely good conversations, good faith discussions with our friends in the legislature. Remember that everybody voted unanimously for our TRS cost of living adjustment. People were very supportive of another one of the propositions in the legislature, which was property tax relief. So, the universities and all the other groups that are out there that this potentially could affect, there are a lot of folks over there that want to get this resolved. So, timing is a big problem that we're dealing with right now. So, to the extent that our members want to continue to engage in this process, I don't believe there's anything wrong with you clicking, if you haven't done it yet, the inside line that we sent out that said, click here to send an email to the governor, click here to send an email to your House member. It just lets them know that you're following this and you're interested in getting it resolved. And we'll follow that legislatively over the coming days as we see this thing unfold. So, and if they don't get to it, we'll be asking that some kind of relief be considered if and or when the governor may call another special legislative session. I know nobody in the legislature wants to hear that being talked about right now, but if there is one, we'll at least ask that they consider putting this on the call. So, all right. Andrew, anything else that we want to add in for our members right now that it would be that we think they need to know before we recap what's been talked about?
The one thing I would punctuate is you said that one of the senators referred to Senate Bill 6 as a fail-safe, a backup plan.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly right. I think, I spent some time as a staff attorney at the Texas Supreme Court. I have absolutely no doubt that the trial court judge understands this is an election contest with multiple issues up in the air until there's a resolution. I'm quite confident that whoever gets this in the trial court in Travis County will expeditiously handle it. And I am just as confident that the courts of appeals will expeditiously resolve these. They always resolve election appeals as quickly as they possibly can. So I appreciate the Senate and I appreciate anything the legislature and the governor can do, but I'm also very hopeful and confident that the judiciary will understand the gravity of this and move it very quickly.
Okay, so I'm going to look at some of the questions that we have, and one of the first ones that I noticed was, can some kind of legal action speed this up? And my knee-jerk reaction to creating some other legal action is, number one, it's very expensive. Number two, you never know what you get yourself into, and number three, you don't know if it's going to do any good. So it seems like the wheels are already turning.
Yeah, again, I truly have a lot of confidence and faith in I spent some time at the Attorney General's office. There are tremendously good lawyers over there, and whatever legal levers and mechanisms they can use, I absolutely trust them to be making them right now.
Yeah. I think just again, because we had some folks that may have tuned in just a little bit later, the overview of this situation, again, Andrew just kind of walk us through these people filed this deal, and now we're kind of facing some kind of delay.
Sure. So again, under Texas law, an election for any kind, but an election for constitutional amendments, there's a provision, a statutory rule that sets out how people can contest those. And in this case, you contest it by filing a lawsuit within a certain period after the election. Those have been filed. So those lawsuits now have to be heard in the trial court and then can be taken up on appeal if the losing party chooses. So the delay that they cause is the statute expressly says that the governor and the secretary of state cannot certify the election until these challenges are resolved. So they have to be resolved, and then the election can be certified.
And again, for us, until it's certified, we know the vote totals, and TRTA is still extremely impressed and pleased and grateful to the Texans who came out and voted for it. Prop 9 got more votes than anybody else. So, I think our members, and I think, every single person that went out and voted for this, the people have spoken. The money has, been appropriated by the legislature. So, if we can get through these legal challenges quickly, our belief is that everybody is going to be primed and ready to go to try to get this thing done. It's just like they said they were going to.
Exactly. The legal effect of this, or the financial effect of this on our members, should be at worst a month or two delay in getting the amount of COLA that you would have gotten. Obviously, you still get your regular check, but that should be the extent of the legal effect, which I don't mean to minimize.
Sure. For
people who really need that COLA right now. We've been working on it a long time.
Yeah.
But it should not be worse than a month or three delay in getting that part of your TRS check.
Yeah. All right. So a lot of folks here that have tuned in, and I know it's definitely caught everybody by surprise. It's unwelcome news, and the truth of the matter is that y'all did work very hard, and this is something that has been in the works for a long time, as Andrew just said. We're going to follow this every step of the way. We're kind of out here talking about these things at a high level because there's still a lot of runway here that this thing could take off in one direction or the other. So whether it's items that'll happen during the special session or some things that may happen in the legal process, there's a lot we don't know. But we're going to stay focused and stay focused on doing what we can to partner with people in the legislature that want to resolve this. We're going to keep pushing. I think that Senate Bill 6 is certainly a good legislative measure. A friend of mine who has worked with me for many years, Brian Hughes, filed that bill, got it through the Senate, lots of support, sent it over to the House. We'll see, if that's a direction that the House can move. If not, we'll see what the next steps are, and we'll work with the House and the governor and as much time as it may take to try to get this over the finish line. So I'm going to take one more peek at questions, and then we'll wrap up for the day. Just a brief recap. Let's see. Andrew, that's the problem with live TV is that you look at something and you want to scroll back down and see what was going on. Anything else that you want to add?
No, I'm confident this will get resolved and the judiciary will come to the right conclusion about all of these lawsuits.
Yeah, some people have said, and I found the question, it was, what's the motivation behind this lawsuit? What are people alleging about these voting machines? And again, they'll be able to look at those documents. They'll have a chance. We're going to link that as a recap on our update that we send out to everybody with this recorded version of this session. So if you want to look at that information, by all means, go right ahead. It's my own personal opinion that I just don't. Well, maybe my opinion doesn't matter. But as Andrew said, I think we're going to get through this. We're going to get it resolved. And the most important thing is that retirees are going to get their COLA. So it just may take a little bit more time than what was originally anticipated. But, we're going to stick with it and appreciate all of the feedback that you all are giving to us. We'll try to respond if there are other questions that are showing up either on Facebook or YouTube. But I do, again, want to make a plug for the team that we have here at TRTA. This is a great organization. We have former legislators on our team. We have a former director of TRS on our team. We have Andrew with his legal expertise that's on our team. We have an amazing board of directors. All of this does just not come together. It takes years and years of trying to bring these folks together and support these issues. We're getting towards the end of the year. If you're a TRTA member and have not yet renewed your dues, we'd certainly appreciate it. If you're just checking us out because you heard that there was going to be a COLA, so many of the people that are watching this with you here today, they're the reason that COLA is really happening. They are the ones who really worked hard to make that possible. And if you're not yet a member of the organization, we'd appreciate it if you would consider it. But thank you so much for tuning in. Continue to send your questions, post them on Facebook, make comments on YouTube. We'll do our best to respond to those as they come up, and we'll send out more updates as we learn more information. But for now, that's our update from the downtown Austin, and we'll check in with you all later. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.